What's up, fam? Welcome back again to Recap Kickback. It's me, your host, Chappell, and I am here again to talk to you about this week in Black entertainment news and to recap what our television show / movie of the weekend is. And this time, it's a special treat. We have Cross on Amazon Prime, episodes 1 and 2. So if you haven't already watched the show, go check it out. Or if you don't plan on watching it, listen to us talk to you about it, because we're going to break down the first 2 episodes. It's not going to be too spoilery because the first 2 episodes don't get into the nitty gritty, but we'll get to all of that and later on. You can definitely stay here and check out this podcast, because with me, per usual, got my co-host Cross the Boss over here. It's Mari Forth.
I am so excited. First off, we have Jason back with us. I'm excited about that. Sorry, I kind of stepped on your
hey, listen,
your intro
he needs
there.
no introduction. He needs no introduction. Jason Reed, welcome back.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Happy to be here. Kind of surprised that we had, it was like a last minute podcast sub, and for Cross, I'm excited to come and talk again with y'all on the Recap Kickback. I haven't been back since the new format change, so happy to be here. Happy to be back on Recap Kickback.
And the reason why I'm excited is because Jason read all of the Cross books just like I did, but then I kind of I dropped the ball on the last few, because what had happened was I read all of the up until, which one was it, Jason? 20 Kill Alex Cross? That's like the 20th book, something like that.
I think they're up to like 30 something at this point.
They're up to 30 now. I stopped at 20
because
I was reading the books. But then I got to a point where I could no longer read books like that. So I started listening to books, and I couldn't listen to these ones.
So that's how I read books, is I listen to audiobooks.
Yeah. So you like the narrator?
I love it. I love it. That ups the experience for me, especially because like with the Cross books, especially, they got to a point where they started using one narrator for every character. But in the last few books, though, they now have it almost like a play, like almost like an audio play.
Ooh,
so
okay.
That's what I love. I love that. So the last Cross book, all the Cross books are Alex Cross must something, Alex Cross must die, Alex Cross on trial.
Double Cross.
There is another one coming out later this month, which is the House of Cross. So that one is coming out at the end of November. I'm excited. I just recently finished the last Cross book, like right before this series came out. So I'm up to date all the Cross stuff. I'm a sucker for a story, for character. So, I can't start a series and not end it. That's just kind of that's like my obsessive personality taking over. I can't not end something that has an ending. Yeah.
No, that's a lie, because I get that fixation where it's like, if I get fixated on it, I have to finish it. But now if you lose my interest, then it's done. It's forever. It's did not finish. DNF,
Listen, most stuff, even if it starts sucking, I can't stop. Like I didn't stop Walking Dead. I didn't stop.
Dang.
Yeah.
We are not the same.
I know.
We are not the same.
Yeah.
Look, we have plenty of time to talk about the Cross book. I have questions now that I know that you two are learned in this literature. But I first want to thank the listeners, of course, for being here. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. If this is your first time checking us out, this is what we do. We talk about Black entertainment news, television, movies, music, whatever comes up. And then we talk about whatever else we want to talk about that piques our interest. You just get our Black ass point of view on it a lot of times, okay? So make sure you hit that like button on YouTube, subscribe, youtube.com/@recapkickback, or you can subscribe on all platforms, recapkickback.com/subscribe, to make sure that you're a part of the conversation and that you're giving the feedback to the podcast. We're even on Blue Sky, so
Yes, we are.
The long Blue Sky handle, Recap Kickback at slot
bsky.social.
bsky.social. Bleesky.social. Yeah, that. Follow us on all social media platforms at Recap Kickback, so you can keep up with all the stuff we have going on. Because we're trying to make the podcast grow, and we need your help. And shoot us some 5-star reviews while you're at it. We only take 5-star reviews. I know other podcasts allow you to get 4 stars, 4.5. We don't really see those. Our algorithm's not made like that. So just keep that in mind when you're telling us about how you feel about Recap Kickback, because we love it here, right? And we want to keep this thing going. like we said, Cross is coming later on, but we do have to talk about the news of the week. And we didn't do news last week. We had to spend the entire time dedicated to our Beauty in Black coverage, which is getting rave reviews on YouTube. Mari, that might one of the funniest podcasts I've ever done, bar none.
I have never laughed so hard. Like, it would, if I'm glad you two were there, because if it was just like us two, we probably would have had to stop the podcast because I was crying laughing so hard. Like, I was like, I'm glad they can keep going because I'm done. Like, I just got to a point where I'm like, I am done. I can't speak. It was so fun.
Our special guest Matt Scott was in rare form. Okay, I mean that was one. I mean, give the man his Emmy. That was his. That's his biggest performance of all time. Jason, did you watch Beauty in Black on Netflix?
I have not seen it yet. It's on the list, the ever growing list of things nowadays that are just it's overwhelming. But it is on there. It's got to happen at some point.
Okay, here's a pro tip from your boy. The same way you read these cross books, just listen to the podcast about Beauty in Black. Trust me, we're gonna give you a good, concise idea of what exactly happens. We cover the entire season, and not to spoil it, but there's a season 2 coming too. So just listen to us; it'll catch you up for season 2 whenever the time comes. But in the meantime, we do have more news to talk about, you guys, and we have to get into it. Quincy Jones passed away. Quincy Jones, pop mastermind and Thriller producer, dies at 91. This is a big news. Obviously, a lot of people were very surprised, very sad. 91 is nothing to slouch at. I mean, that's a long life. But the legacy of Quincy Jones, I mean, it's a pop mastermind and Thriller producer. But that's just kind of like, it's just the quickest version of saying, like, this man is a genius who did everything in every aspect of music for such a long time, so consistent. A now past legend that we have. The memory of Quincy Jones lives on in so much of the music that we know and love today. Jason, I feel like you have some background on Quincy Jones as well.
Yeah, I totally do. I mean, like, Quincy Jones is like you said, he's known a lot for music, for producing a lot of Michael Jackson's hits, being part of the We Are the World thing back in the day. But he's also in has his hands in TV. He was a big driving force between Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yes,
he did. I think I was reading about him, like Mad TV was a baby of his. I didn't even know that. The father of Rashida Jones, who I think is not really known by a lot of people. I think a lot of people will be surprised to know that Rashida Jones of Parks and Rec fame is his daughter. A lot of
Black people are
right. So I think you'll be surprised at that. So I think you've heard the name Quincy Jones, but you haven't really associated a lot with him. Like, everyone knows the name, but you don't know a lot about what he brought to the entertainment world as a whole.
I mean, people always talk about his contribution to Michael Jackson. Obviously, Thriller, one of the biggest hits of all time, but also one of the biggest albums, the biggest selling album of all time. If I'm not mistaken, Jason mentioned the We Are the World, number 1 hit in 1985. Also, the We Are the World documentary that dropped on Netflix. Isn't it?
Greatest Night in Pop.
The Greatest Night in Pops. I believe it's award nominated at this point. So even
so freaking good.
Yeah, even in his death, he's still racking up accomplishments. Mari, my favorite Quincy Jones memory, and this is gonna sound awful, but it's from the Boondocks. He's helping Huey Freeman do, I guess, the Christmas play at the school. And the kids are dancing around like the Peanuts gang, and Huey has a vision. He has a very specific vision, and the kids are like, Huey's yelling at them like, "Stop all the goddamn dancing!" And they're looking at him like, "What's wrong with him?" And then they look at Quincy Jones. He says, "Don't look at Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones can't help you." I think about that every time I hear this man's name. It's just such a big loss for us. I just feel like we've been taking some L's in the community these last couple weeks, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's to the point where it's just kind of like, I don't want to get on here every week and talk about what legend we've lost. Like, the hits keep on coming, but like, you got to send one up for, like you said, just a genius, a musical mastermind, a legendary blabbermouth at the end of his life as well. He loved a good gossip at the end.
Quincy
there.
got the tea, okay? You want to get messy? Go look up some Quincy Jones' recent interviews, okay? Go look up Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones might have the information you need. You know what I'm saying?
When you get up into your late 80s, you just don't give a F anymore. You're just like, F it. I'm gonna spill all the tea. I'm gonna spill all the secrets. No one's safe.
Honestly, I don't blame him. Do what you want to do. You know, Quincy Jones out here telling the good truths, the bad truths, the ugly truths, and I was here for it all. So, you know, shout out to one of the GOATs. Speaking of GOATs, we have some big news from one of the greatest of all time, one of our currently living legends, Denzel Washington. He kind of shook the world the other day when people assumed that he was retiring from acting in the near future. And he also said that he will be working on the Black Panther 3 as one of his last movies before he retires. Now, he later on goes and tells people like, why don't they retire? I mean like today, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think he told Jimmy Kimmel, I have 5, 6 other movies that I need to do, you know what I'm saying? And that's not really something that happens in 1 year. And then I'm gonna move behind the camera as well. Mari, I think Denzel, he's reached that age too where he just don't care no more.
Exactly, because like he literally just like, yeah, I'm gonna be in Black Panther 3. Like, was he supposed to say that? Like, I don't even know. I don't think he was supposed to reveal that.
I feel like that was probably news to like Kevin Feige, who runs Marvel. He's like, wait, he is? It just felt like Denzel was like, no, I haven't talked to anybody about it, but I'm going to be in Black Panther 3. That's just that's it. Like I don't need to talk to anybody. I'm saying I'm going to be in it. So I'm going to be in it.
Ryan's writing him apart right now.
Yeah, but I mean, if Denzel Washington says you're doing something, don't you just do it? Like if he said Chappell's covering the Black Panther 3, I'll be like, okay, well shit, I guess I got to, you know?
He called Ryan Coogler, was like, you're gonna put me in Black Panther 3, and that's that. Ryan was probably like, yeah, sure. Yeah, no problem.
He's not gonna say no.
Get to writing. Jason, you're very familiar with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What the hell is this role that he's going to have? I don't think Denzel's going to be a Wakandan, is he?
Oh yeah, I mean the Black Panther mythos is full of like elders that don't agree with how either T'Challa or whoever's in charge of Wakanda at the moment is running things. So I think it would be a very easy role to slip into, where he, like Denzel's like an elder that doesn't like how Wakanda is being run, so he's going to try and take over Wakanda or whatever. There's a lot of things you can do with Denzel. Obviously, he is supremely versatile. So whatever role you want to put him in, whether it be an advisor, whether it be an elder that doesn't like things how they're running right now, it's going to be super easy and seamless to put him into that tapestry of Wakanda or whatever the role he's going to be. So I'm not surprised at all that Denzel wants to be in this, because I mean it's a Black Panther movie, so not surprised he wants to be in it, and not surprised that it's gonna happen. Like all he needed to do was say, "I'm doing it," and that's it.
I'll be there. He also said something about, I think, 2 more Equalizer films, as well as we know Gladiator 2 is coming. So he's got a lot of big roles coming his way. I didn't realize that we needed 4 and 5 Equalizers, but
do we need? It's so surprising to me because Denzel doesn't do a whole lot of sequels. The fact that he chose Equalizer to be his like sequel factory is really interesting. I don't know if you guys have watched the Equalizer movies.
That's also the Queen Latifah one.
Oh, I was about to say the TV
show. That's
a
TV show. Yeah. But like Denzel,
sorry.
Yeah, I mean it's the same premise pretty much. But for Denzel, like Equalizer 3 is just like, Denzel, he's an older gentleman. It's just like,
hey, Jason, let him get his Liam Neeson on. If Liam Neeson can limp around. They at one point they were putting him in planes, in trains, doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, for sure. Liam Neeson is like the transportation violence guy. Like I can F you up on a bus, I can F you up on a train, I can F you up like on any.
Yes, I can, Sam. I am.
Right, exactly. So yeah, Denzel's doing his best Liam Neeson. I ain't mad at it. It's just you can tell in like Equalizer 3, it's like the way he moves, like they have to cut around his moving all the time. It's like, okay, we get it. So by the time we get to Equalizer 5, I don't know how good it's gonna look, but it's Denzel. He could sit in a chair and say and do anything. We would all flock to the theater to go see. I'm super psyched to see him in Gladiator 2 coming up. which is
I have
right now.
No clue what that movie is about. Like, I mean, like Gladiators, but like, is it?
Did you watch the first Gladiator?
20 years ago? Yeah.
It's been a long time. You're not wrong.
I mean, I think it's going to be similar. It's going to be pretty much the same to Gladiator 1, I would imagine, but just with some Denzel sprinkled in, which I think everyone is very excited about. But yeah, I mean, listen, Denzel could say the phone book, and we'd all be lining up to see it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's on Broadway right now, or he's just on Broadway randomly whenever he wakes up in the morning and decides to go. You know, like again, if he knocks on the door, they just like, all right, let him in and let him do whatever role he wants. He's doing Othello.
Really? That's what I was just about to say. He's doing Othello. Like,
yeah.
You know, Washington just be walking on sound studios like, hey, can I get in on this? And people like, yeah, please.
Yeah, come on in.
Let's go. Need you. Where have you been?
I read somewhere that he hasn't auditioned for a role in like 30 years. You know, like
because
just,
why?
I mean, makes sense.
Why?
Yeah.
It's like, well, Denzel, I don't know, man. We might need to read for this part. He's like, read? Sir, I'm Denzel Washington.
Whoever said that is getting fired. He's like, all Denzel's do is make a call. Like, you are fired for even like deeming to say I need to audition for a role.
Right.
Well,
did you know?
Did you see him talking about his British accent? I was watching him on stage talk about it. Like he was in for Queen and Country back in 1988, and he was supposed to be like a black British dude. Oh my God. I saw scenes from that. Type in like Dave Chappelle, Denzel Washington British accent in like YouTube, and it is the absolute worst. Like it was young Denzel doing the absolute worst British accent you will ever hear in your entire life. And the fact that he was able to just bounce back and have like a long career after that is like truly amazing, because it was so bad.
But if Denzel does something bad, are we allowed to say that it's bad? Or is it just like,
what?
Well, go for it, Denzel. We love you. We don't care.
This was bad. No.
I mean, people didn't love Fences. I think that was the last time I ever heard someone speak critically about Denzel Washington. Like there were some people who were like, I think he was good. I think Fences was like, you know, it's kind of like a play and movie form. I think, it's a lot. It was, you know, it was a lot. But as far as Denzel Washington goes, I can't think of the Denzel Washington thing that I don't like. You know what I'm saying? Like that Denzel did. Like, what are we talking about? I think he just has a carte blanche to do whatever he wants, and I know if I watch it, it's gonna be decent. So,
I loved Macbeth. I really did.
Yeah, I think Macbeth is going to come up in our conversation about Cross too for a split second, but we'll get to that later on. One other thing that I wanted to talk about that I thought Jason is uniquely equipped to help us with is that Sterling K. Brown is going to be in a new Hulu movie. It's a thriller. And it's created by This Is Us's Dan Fogelman. And so, Jason, you are very familiar with This Is Us. The only thing I know is that a crock pot kills somebody. So, what do you think about this upcoming project?
Spoiler alert!
I'm sorry if you could just guess which cast member gets murdered by the crock pot at some point in This Is Us. Well, I guess I ruined
the show.
There's only one very prominent death.
The show is 15 years later. 15 years ago, y'all. If you ain't watched it by now, I'm sorry. I guess I just spoiled Fences too. Denzel Washington's in it. Jason, what should we be expecting?
I mean, this is kind of a different stage than This Is Us. I mean, This Is Us was a very like tear-jerking, like drama type of thing. This seems to be more of a kind of like a thriller, maybe some action set pieces in here. So this is a little different. This is created by the same person that created This Is Us, so it's going to be some of that same DNA in it. But it feels like this is going to be a different. It's not a different type of role for Sterling, because Sterling has done like 1,000 different things. Like
so good.
He's so versatile. I mean, almost similar to a Denzel. He can pull off a lot. So I'm very interested to see what this is going to look like. If it has Sterling in it, I'm very confident in it, and I will at least give it a shot and check it out. So I'm 100% down. I recently watched Honk for Jesus. I don't know if y'all saw that.
Okay. So good.
Yes.
That was really epic.
Brown doing Nuck If You Buck. Yeah.
Oh, that scene. Yeah, and neither of them had heard that song before.
Which is crazy.
was him and Regina Hall. Like that was really fun. So I mean, Sterling is a treasure, like, you know, in Hollywood. And I mean, for someone like him who's so big now, I mean, he came back to do a This Is Us podcast retrospective with a couple of the other cast members. Like typically those things are reserved for, you know, washed up actors that are still trying to cash in on, you know, former fame, but he's doing like the podcast rewatch. So like I think Sterling is someone that's always down for stuff. So I'm very excited to see what this is. I mean, it looks like in this he's playing like a Secret Service agent who's like next to the president when something goes down, like, you know, with the president. So I think it's going to be kind of like he's going to be suspected of something and he's going to have to run for his life. I don't know. So I am 100% in to see what this is going to be about.
Yeah, he's a Secret Service agent. The president dies. And then, of course, because he's the head of the Secret Service or whatever, or he was the last Secret Service person to see the president alive. It's James Marsden, by the way. But the last person to see him alive, he's suspect number one. And then we find out, like, hey, by the way, there might be some other nefarious stuff going on in the background. So, you know, good on Sterling K. Brown, obviously getting this starring role in Hulu. And then this is potentially something we could talk about here on Recap Kickback, Mari.
Yeah, I'm down for it. It'll be interesting to see how Dan Fogelman. You said this is a movie, right?
This is a movie. Yes.
Oh yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he does in like a movie, like a feature film format, and not. Cause I'm not aware of any of his other movies, so that might just be a me thing. But yeah, I just know him for This Is Us. And what was that other A Million Little something?
I
don't know.
Or something like that.
Was it that one? Something like that. He wasn't in that. He's just known for Dan Fogelman didn't do that. I thought he does all those.
I thought you meant Sterling. No, I don't know if Dan Fogelman did the Million Little Whatevers. I don't know.
I feel like he did another sad TV show, but whatever. Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, and apparently this is a series, and they're gonna drop 3 episodes on January 28th. And then they're going to release new episodes weekly after that because that's what streaming does, right? They just roll 3 episodes at you, and then you're halfway through the season by the time you start it, and then 2 weeks later you're done and you have nothing else to talk about. I'm so sick of them.
Well, not here for Cross. They gave us all 8 episodes.
Look at them. I would prefer either 8 episodes flat, give me all of them, or just give me a weekly release where we can go in, analyze the episode, talk about it for a week, and then get the next one. But these like 3 here, the way they did Bel Air this year was just egregious. They dropped like 3 episodes, then they dropped 3 episodes again, then they dropped 2, then they dropped 1 and 1 or something like that. I was like, what are we doing? So stupid. Yeah,
well, stuff like Netflix. What they do with like Love Is Blind, where they do like 6 episodes up front, and then 3, and then 2, and then 1. It's like that's so stupid, especially for podcast covers doing a 6-episode podcast. Like, oh.
Yeah, they're really ruining my life. Like, it's making life so much harder to cover these shows because you want to stay on top of them while they're topical, but then of course, you don't want to get left behind too much, and then you don't want to, you don't want to get too ahead of people either. You want to give people a chance to watch it so we can talk about it. So
exactly. Oh, so you're right.
We'll see how it goes. Yeah, bring back week to week. My favorite topic, Mari, what's coming soon? Yes, we have another one. A biopic. We got another one of those things. And I love a good biopic. This time, Boyz II Men. Biopic and documentary in the works to celebrate over 30 years of R&B success. I feel like this is a long time coming. Boyz II Men has been had multiple Vegas residencies. I think at any given time of the year, you could just pop up and they'll be just singing "Let It Snow" in Vegas for no reason. And so, like, storied career here for some icons in the R&B. And anytime we talk about music, I love a music documentary. I love a music biopic because that's where it's kind of like it's history in a weird way. It's like, sure, we're talking about music, but it shows you the sign of the times, right? And for Boyz II Men to be basically a bunch of church kids that went on to make secular music, and I use secular very loosely because the sexiest song they have is "I'll Make Love to You." But they really do like shape the way a lot of these R&B groups of the 90s were moving back then. And so I'm very excited to see this. The story of Nathan, Sean, Wanye, et cetera, et cetera. Mari, in my mind, I gotta talk about this on Recap Kickback because we talk about so many biopics, but I'm hoping that this ranks up with some of the good ones because we've had some good ones, but we've had some not some good ones too.
Right. That's what I was about to say. Unless the people who did the New Edition biopic does this, keep it, because like I truly think we got to go back to like the biopic at like the big 3-part biopic format and not like a feature, you know what I'm saying? Some of the best ones that, you know, Jackson's, it's like those are the best ones. New Edition being like, that was like a 2-parter, but then if you add on the Bobby Brown one too that they did like almost right after the New Edition one, like they need to start doing stuff like that. God, that New Edition one was so good. Oh my God. So like Boyz II Men trying to put in a feature film, I feel like that might be, I don't know, that might be too much.
But is there a lot of drama associated with the Boyz II Men? Because like I don't think there's anything like, now that I'm trying to think, like I don't remember a lot of drama with them.
So dramatic, his dramatic ass.
Yeah,
but there's like a lot of scandals there.
Yeah, it's like there's not a lot of scandal. These were the church boys.
We need to see we need to see Adina Howard and Brandy fighting over Wanye. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Drama. Boyz II Men will always hold a special place in my heart because like I grew up on Boyz II Men. Like it was one of the only things my mother would let me listen to, like, you know, because my mother was a very like strict parent, like no curse words in your music, no this or that. And thinking back on it with the whole "I'll make love to you" thing, like why was that okay? But I have a separate conversation with my mother about that later. But it's like, you know, they hold a very special place to me. Yeah, I mean, most of it was pretty PG
like sex song, you know, like exactly. for like especially for 90s R&B, like Mari just name dropped the Adina Howard. Like there was some freaky freaks back then too. You know, Boyz II Men was just kind of like towing the line with those types of songs, but they have so many big hits, collaborations with Mariah Carey, of course, the Cooley-Eye harmony of it all. You know, just I mean, these brothers can sing, okay? That was their thing, right? These brothers can sing and they could stand on just their voices. And so, yeah, I'm interested to see who they're going to pick for actors. Mari, what's the over-under on British actors that will be in this film portraying the GOATs here?
So,
at least two.
Like, that's what I say. Two. At least two. It's between 2 or 3 for me. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, Sean kind of looked British. I could see it. I could see it. But yeah. So of course, more celebrating our Black legends while they are here to smell the flowers if we give it to them. And so I'm very excited for that. And we'll be checking it out at that time. And hopefully it happens soon so we can cover it here on Recap Kickback. But that's our entertainment news of the week. If you are tuning in just for entertainment news, thank you for stopping by. Make sure you come back next week. We'll have more entertainment news for you as well, and a new movie or TV show to cover. Mari, do you know what we're doing next week? Do we have anything big on the way?
Not sure. There's a graphic there. Pull that graphic up. There's a lot of stuff coming soon.
Gotcha. Okay.
Entertainment.
So let's pull up the graphic. Let's see what's coming up on our radar. And this is from x.com. Am I right? I haven't been on this site in a while, so let's just see. Yeah.
The barren wasteland.
Yeah, it's the ghetto over there. We've moved on to bluer skies, if you will. Yeah.
Oh my God, not a white refrigerator.
Woo, the ghetto. 18 Black-led titles premiering this month of November. Luther Vandross, Never Too Much.
Make it bigger. Make it bigger.
Let's see. There it is.
There you go.
How's that? All right. Luther Vandross, Never Too Much. Invincible Fight Girl, which is on Mari and I's radar. Yes.
Yeah.
Meet Me Next Christmas, a Netflix movie. I've been talking to.
You didn't cover that yet?
Well, the who all gonna be there people been having some scheduling issues. It's coming. Okay. We're gonna have it. We're gonna try to roll it out in December for our holiday, lineup. If you haven't watched it, it's cute. It's one of those. It's a cute ass.
That's what I heard.
Silo, Black-led. Jason, did you know Common was the lead of Silo?
Is he the lead?
I mean, it says. Yeah, I feel like that's a stretch. Cruel Intentions though is very Black. I've been seeing the
it is
script. Yeah, I think
Black.
It's Black. I think it's a Black rendition of Cruel Intentions.
Yeah, is that a remake of the other movie of the movie?
Yeah, but it's gonna be a show.
Yeah, and Cruel Intentions itself is a remake of
Dangerous
Valmont.
Liaisons.
Yeah, Dangerous Liaisons. Valmont. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the French one.
Which Stars did a good rendition of that, the original.
Gotcha. See, I wasn't I've never watched the Stars rendition, but yeah, I've been seeing a lot. I think I've been seeing a lot of like the posters, for the upcoming thing. And so hopefully
I think like that comes out this week. So
yeah, it's getting very black now. I don't know, because like I said, this one graphic is saying black led, but you know what that means. It maybe top 3, top 4 people might be one of the people might be black, because Sex Lives of College Girls is on here as well, and that's not a black led show. There's just it's one of the leads.
Love that show. Definitely not black led.
Sasha
and I will not black led.
Yeah, Sasha and I will be covering it on RHAP Scripted this season 3. So check that out.
Interesting. That's very interesting. Glad to know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Live beef.
Right. I feel like I missed something.
It wasn't like me and Gia covered that somewhere.
Oh. That's tough. So
it be your own people. It be your own people.
Because I definitely did not miss it. So anyway, a few more. Obviously, crosses on here. Red One, the Christmas movie with The Rock. The Day of the Jackal, Wicked, The Madness, starring Coleman Domingo. That's technically black led. The Piano Lesson is coming soon. Mari, I think that's what we have to talk about next week, maybe. November 22nd. It's on Netflix.
We just got out of our dramatic era, though.
I mean, did we? Because we really about to talk about Cross, and I would say that this is pretty
true.
Yeah, but look, if you have any suggestions, let us know. You can email us. recapkickback@gmail.com and let us know, or you can leave us a comment on our YouTube page or on our reviews with the 5-star reviews, of course, or we won't see them, and say, hey, this is what I think y'all should talk about, and then we'll try to bring that to you. Thank y'all for listening, and we are going to come back right after this break with our review of episodes 1 and 2 of Cross on Amazon Prime right after this. All right, we're back. So Cross is something that was not on my radar. I like Aldous Hodge as an actor, so I was not opposed to watching it, but this is definitely not my type of show initially. And so I was very surprised when Mari was like, hey, we got to talk about it. I was like, cool, let's check it out. And I did, and I have questions. And so now that I know that the two of you are very tapped into the whole world of, the Cross books, which I'll say 30-something books, I need to know, okay, the episodes 1 and 2, did you feel like it was aligned with, the way that you read the books or perceived the books in the past? Jason, I guess you can go first if you want. I think you've read more of them than Mari.
Yeah, so the thing with Cross is that it's not based on an existing book. This is like a new story within the Alex Cross universe. So a lot of the details within Cross, like his family structure, and even references a past case, which is the first book of Alex Cross, those are all in line with the book version of Alex Cross. So that all rings true. So it does feel like it's part of that same environment and universe of the Cross books,
right? Like Along Came a Spider, Kiss the Girls. I feel like there's one more there.
Not the Morgan Freeman versions. There was a terrible Tyler Perry Alex Cross movie, which
was just Cross.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. I knew about the Morgan Freeman ones because those were when I grew up watching those. Yeah,
people didn't even realize that was books. That was based on
books. Didn't know.
That's how good those movies were.
I had no clue. And then when I saw Tyler Perry was involved in the other Cross movie, I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Now, I never watched it, but mostly because it's really hard for me to see TP as not Medea. So him shooting a gun and he's not wearing a dress doesn't really. It
wasn't good. It was not good. And like they keep it, and Jason's right. They kind of have to do another, they have to kind of stay in the universe while not completely doing the books, because especially that first book, it's been like done to death in a sense where they've taken the elements, like his wife getting shot and murdered has been in basically every iteration that they've done of Cross. It's like his wife got to get shot and murdered. I mean, it's like the biggest thing that happens to him, and it sets off the series. But it's just like it's been done to death. So I haven't finished the season. So I don't think any of us, none of us finished the season. We just did we're just reviewing the first 2 episodes. So they've already been greenlit for season 2, from what I understand. I think James Patterson only agreed to do the first season if he was guaranteed a second season, which is fucking awesome. And so it'll be interesting to see what the second season is like, because I feel like they might use this season to introduce the characters and all of that, and then they might get on the path of the books to season 2. But I don't even know. Like I think it's hard. Sorry for me to go on this tangent, but like currently ABC had the Will Trent series going, and I read all the Will Trent books. There's only 10 of those books, and it was really hard for them to try and juggle the storylines for that from 10 books in a 13 episode series. And I don't think they're getting another season, because it's been over a year since the first season. And they did things where one book was one episode, but they would change things, and it was like you're condensing a whole book into an hour. It did not work for me. So it's very interesting that immediately with Cross, even in the first 2 episodes, there's no resolution. It is an ongoing case throughout the season. So I honestly, I'm so excited to see the rest of this season and where they go next. I mean, I don't even know where to start, Chappell. Like, everything was just fantastic to me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's jump in. Cross, that's going to be starring Aldous Hodge. We've been talking about him a lot lately because people were speculating without. All right, we hear you, Mari. People were speculating.
That first scene really got Mari. Really got to Mari.
Yeah, that was funny. Oh my god!
I didn't laugh. I was like taken aback. Like, sir, this has got to be.
I was clutching pearls. My pearls were clutch.
I love
you combat racism with sexual harassment. Is that how we do it?
Yes. And then he dropped the N-word immediately. I was like, we on this type of time. I was like, okay.
I was like, okay, we doing the things. You know, it's funny that you mentioned that. I saw on Twitter, and I have not seen this verified anywhere else. But did y'all see the rumor that James Patterson had to turn down a 7-figure offer at first about this because they wanted to make Cross's character white?
Holy
and see, that's the thing for me, which is interesting. I'm interested to see what you think, Mari, because I read the Cross books and didn't really look into James Patterson as a whole. I heard the name James Patterson, but I started reading the books, and then I was like, let me see who this James Patterson fellow is, and to find out that he's like an older white man, I was like,
yeah,
interesting, because there's a lot of content in the Cross books that are just like interesting perspective coming from a white person. So Mari, I'm interested to see what you think of that as well, because I came late to it and I was like, oh, didn't realize that was the case. I'd already been like 5 books in. I was like, well, definitely can't stop now, but that's interesting tidbit to know.
So for me, I always knew that James Patterson was white, and I always knew Alex Cross was black, but maybe it's because I was reading those books when I was really young, because like this has been an ongoing series for like 20 plus years. Like, it's been a very long time. So for me, I just like that Alex Cross was black. I felt like he was doing all of the things just as a black man. I never saw any racial undertones or anything like that. And plus, James Patterson, who helps him write the books now? Because
this is a solo James Patterson. James Patterson has a lot of series. Yes, still. James Patterson has a lot of series that he co-writes with people.
He co-writes with people, yeah.
James Patterson has a lot of volume in books. So that's because he co-writes a lot of them. He plots books and then lets other people kind of really write them. But this Alex Cross has always been a solo James Patterson thing.
Maybe I got to pay attention more.
I mean, especially like the first books came out in like the 90s. So it's like, for sure, a lot of the language or a lot of the stuff in the books is like, we look at them today with our 2024 lens and we're like, yikes. So it's always been something that kind of set off my alarms a little bit, but it feels like it's nothing overly gross, especially now. 2020 series. There's nothing majorly that makes me go like, makes my eyebrow raise, but I just thought it was a very interesting thing to really bring up, that this this black protagonist and all his
very black
family, very black series was
very
all
black.
written by a white man. So
maybe like, Nana Mama. Maybe that is. I've honestly, Jason, I've never thought of that. Like honestly, so now I gotta go back with the different lens.
Think about and really
but
has
I
to
think
kind
he
of,
does it pretty well.
Yeah, I think he does. Yeah, I think he does. But it's just some of the things are just like, interesting. This is written by a white man, but he seems to understand some of the struggles. So it's like, okay.
I mean,
Alex Cross's trial was really good, and that was very racial.
Yes,
yeah.
Like James Madison, you have a pass to the cookout. Like you might be able to come.
Okay, he can sit outside, but we'll bring him.
We'll bring you out some potato salad or something. I don't know.
Exactly. Look. Because I do have, I mean, this white man sitting there typing like, yeah, isn't my black dick bigger than yours? I'm like, James Patterson, calm down.
Well, he probably didn't write that.
Did he write the?
I don't know. But I do find that funny. I found the tweet that's from, I want to give her credit, I Writer Girl. It says,
shout out.
At I Writer Girl, I didn't know James Patterson rejected a 7-figure offer because the studio wanted to change the character of Alex Cross to be white. He refused to whitewash his lead detective and later went on to talk about how the character was inspired by his own experiences with a black family in his hometown. So apparently there's an Alex Cross in his hometown with a big old black dick that he wanted to make sure we highlighted in this show. So we have Aldous Hodge. They said we need somebody who fits the criteria. Bring in Aldous, and I've never seen him on a TV show before.
Most of his writers are black.
Well, look
at that. The executive story editor, Blaze Ali Watkins, Ron McCants.
Look at representation in the writers' room. I've never seen Aldous Hodge in a television show. Have either of you watched a show that was?
Oh yeah, I was a huge Leverage fan, and that's where I was introduced to Aldous Hodge. So like I've been a fan of his since those days. So I've seen him in episodic TV. You know, in those, like especially in Leverage, he was a lighter, more comedic presence on that show. So this is a very different kind of vein I'm seeing him do in this show. I've even forgiven the fact that he was in Black Adam. So like,
that's where I know him from.
So like that was it. You know, I'm a big Aldous Hodge fan, so seeing him in this was really an added benefit to watching the show.
And he killed this role. Fucking A, he killed this role, man. Like, it's hard to follow up Morgan Freeman. Tyler Perry won't go do it no type of way. But Aldous Hodge, I was like, this is good. Like, oh my God, he brought Alex Cross to life. Just with the dealing with the neo-Nazi and basically putting his dick very close to this neo-Nazi's face and being like, checkmate. He got it all. Like, I believe that he is smart. You know what I'm saying? Like, that sounds stupid, but like the whole thing about Alex Cross in the books and in the show, it's like he's a forensic psychologist who works as a police officer / FBI agent, and he's very cerebral, and he's always doing these cat and mouse games with these serial killers and stuff like that. And Aldous Hodge is somebody who can come off as like a dumb action hero if you wanted to, which, you know, with all of your action hero-y people. But instead, this comes off as very cerebral, while also you can see him start to like kind of when he can unravel from, you know, the loss of his wife and stuff like that. He had it all. Like the acting range was all there, and even some of the stuff that he said was what I found funny. I don't know if it was meant to be comedic, but it was just such a good performance to me. It was just an amazing performance as Alex Cross. I was like, this is what we needed this whole entire time. Like, wow.
Yeah, I was glad they had that first scene in there, because I will say after that, I kind of lost a little bit of the Alex Crossness for me, because it's not. He was reacting to things a lot. Like in the Alex Cross books, he's very proactive. He has plans and plots. But I feel like in these first 2 episodes, he was very like reactive to things. Now I did watch episode 3, and there is there's a sequence in episode 3 where it is really good. It's like he's actually going through the case and thinking, and like you kind of see his perspective on how he thinks about things. Like literally when he's in the precinct, like lights go low. You see him working it out in his head. And like that I love. So I wish we had a little bit more of that in episodes 1 and 2. Like episodes 1 and 2 really kind of try to, I guess, introduce you to the world of Alex Cross, which they have to.
A lot of roadblocks.
Yeah, so I felt like that was good. I didn't really love the whole confrontation scene with when he was at the dinner party. Like, I didn't feel like that was very Alex Cross-ish. Like, I feel like the Alex Cross of the books would have really kind of come at this person with like intellect and kind of shut him down via argument, not via fisticuffs. Like, you know, like, so that for me was like, not exactly Alex Cross-ish. Yes, it's badass for sure. But you know, I feel like that was like less of an Alex Cross like thing. I will say big highlight for this series for me is Isaiah Mustafa as who coming into this, I thought maybe like Isaiah Mustafa might have been a better choice for Alex Cross if he was a bigger name, because I feel like he fits more of the Alex Cross description in the books. But him as Samson is a huge highlight for me in this show. So he is a scene stealer. I feel like he takes some of the comedic shine away from Aldous Hodge, who, you know, of course,
he's supposed to.
Yes, he's supposed to. Like, this role doesn't really call for a lot of comedic comedic relief in that role, but Samson does kind of fit that role, and Isaiah Mustafa really kills it as that.
And how sad was it? I was just sitting there like, I'm so glad he's taller than Alex Cross, because it's such a big thing in the books. It's like Samson is the bigger, he's taller and he's thicker than Alex. And it's just like, I just kept looking at them too. I was like, oh, and
I love
Alex Hodge is not short, so
no, I don't know if y'all caught it, but like there was a moment with Alex and Samson where like Samson says something how Alex smells. Alex says, "Well, you smell like mothballs and Old Spice." I was like,
"Yep,
I got that one. I got that because Isaiah Mustafa was the Old Spice guy for years. That's how we were introduced to him. So that was really funny. So yeah, I just loved all those aspects of that, and that chemistry they have is so fantastic. You feel like it's lived in. You feel like it's something they've been together for years. You really feel that in their chemistry.
Yeah, so I mean, to point out what Jason's talking about later on in the show, we do get a confrontation where Alex Cross is moved to violence. And here's how we got there. Alex Cross needs to go to therapy really, really, really bad, and he just refuses. His man will do anything but go to therapy. He will do anything, and he's not exactly a forensic psychologist here. He is a cop. And so he's a detective working for the Chicago PD. And while he's working there, there's a lot of tensions in the air. There's a person who has been murdered. A former gang member turned activist has been killed, or at least he's been found dead. Now, of course, the community think he's been killed by the police because it wouldn't be the first activist that the government or a bigger system has taken out. There's plenty of them that you can name probably. And so the community is not really trusting of that. And it doesn't help that, the cops be kind of violent sometimes. And so you will see throughout Alex Cross is faced with crossroads of sorts where he needs to do his job as a cop, and shut this whole thing down. This was not seen as a murder. This was seen as someone overdosing on meth. However, the community is looking for, somebody to hold the police accountable for what they believe, is something that the police set up. They don't think this guy has done meth or done any of the things that they're accusing him of. In fact, they think this is a plot to, criminalize him and murder him and get him out of the way because he is leading the community in a positive way. And so now Aldous Hodge's character Cross has to toe that line, right? He has to keep his job, obviously, but he also needs to investigate this in a way where he can find out if this is foul play or not. And he does. He finds out very quickly. And I guess I'll ask y'all about this, but he finds out very quickly that this is probably foul play. I don't know how I feel yet, Mari, about the show kind of like getting in front of a lot of the mystery aspects of this. Like within the first episode, we already know who the killer is. We already know, kind of the killer's MO. I feel like they're taking a lot of I was wanting to try to figure it out. Is this the cops? Is this somebody else? Is this foul play? But I think the show kind of gets in front of that and says, no, we have bigger mysteries for you to solve.
Exactly.
We'll just give you this right now.
And that's what I was just going to say. This will not be your SVU Murder of the Week series. It won't be your, like I said, your Will Trent. It's going to be an interwoven ongoing thing, and that's how the books are. The books are literally so twisty, so turny, and then you look up and you're like, wait, that's the mastermind behind everything. It's like always the person you least expect it to be and stuff like that. So I get that. I was in the first 2 episodes, I was like, wait, oh, the killer is working. Where did this black guy come from? Like, where did this other guy come from? You know what I'm saying?
Wrong with
let's talk about Bobby. Bobby's a trip. Bobby is a head case. He's that hotel scene. It's like
Bobby was chilling. Bobby was having a good time. I said, "You go ahead, Bobby." Not when he murdered that woman, but when he was chilling by himself. Before he murdered that lady, I was like, Bobby was having a good time. But yeah, Bobby very clearly is working with the bad guy, Mari.
Yeah, so it's just like that's how that, if this is any indication on where they're going within the season and like how the books go, it's gonna be good. You're gonna think you know it, and then you won't know it. You won't know it until it's the end. So if you're kind of like, dang, the killer's revealed, dang, it'll probably be some shit you just never figure out until the very last minute.
Yeah, and like the books, there are 2 plot lines going at the same time. You have your main crime, your main serial killer, your main villain, and then there's also some Alex Cross drama that's always going on in the books. So that and then you have your mystery in that storyline, right? Like, who is messing with Alex and knows about his past, and if it's going where I think it's going, and where they have introduced to us a character that, at least in these first 2 to 3 episodes, we're like, I don't think we've seen this person. You might have. We might know who it is, and it might be a very interesting switch up from the books. I don't know if you're vibing with where I'm vibing, Mari. But I know you're not, bro. But that would be very interesting in seeing, as the season progresses, hopefully, where that person comes in and how it's connected to Alex and his past. I'm excited for the main like serial killer aspect to dive deeper into who this guy is, because yes, we know who it is, but we don't know the why yet. So that's what I'm interested in seeing about this guy. Ryan Eggold, who is that actor, is also a great actor. He was like he's in The Blacklist. I don't know if everybody watched that show.
Yes, I remember The Blacklist.
Yeah, so he was in that. He was in some medical drama thing that I didn't watch a lot of, but he is a good actor. So I'm really curious to see how he plays this. And in the first 2 episodes, I really liked what he did with the character. So I'm interested to see to get more into the minutia of the why he's doing this. We know who it is. We don't know why.
Yeah. Ryan Eggold's character, Ed, here is a very wealthy man, and he is a serial killer. We know this very quickly, and it seems like he's like emulating serial killers of the past. We'll see him going through and kind of matching his new murders to the old murders, So, even one of his first victims, we see that they're talking about, what's his name? God, what is this man's name? Oh, Amir. They're talking about Amir, and Amir, he didn't fit the profile of the victim that Ryan Eggold's character Ed is looking for, so he made him look like it. He shaved his head, he cut off his locks, but it seems like he made him eat food that he wouldn't have eaten, very much getting into the mind of this serial killer, and why the serial killer is doing this is going to be the interesting part for sure. And so Alex Cross has to find that guy while also dealing with the stuff that's going on in the neighborhood, because that murder of Amir really sets off a chain of events where now multiple people are really involved with this Amir murder. Mari, at some point Amir's murder turns into, where's Amir's cell phone? Then cell phone goes to Vanessa. The baby mama got the cell phone. Then they got to find the baby mama. They find the baby mama. Now the baby mama's dead. The community is not going to like this, especially because they think this is the cops. They think the cops have something to do with this.
Yeah, and you even missed this up there. It was like Amir's cell phone. They were like, oh, he was talking to this drug dealer. Let's bring in the drug dealer. That's where the drug dealer gets killed. His phone is his baby mama who has it, and she gets killed by Bobby's crazy ass. And it's just like a cover up of a cover up of a cover up.
Yeah.
All just to cover up the serial killer. And so it is just, I mean, so far so good to me. The writing has been great, and I love the layers. I don't care. I love it. I love the layers. It don't be making no sense. It's like, it feels like a dead end. It feels like it's just having them spin their wheels on some stuff. Like they have to show up. They have to show us show them to us being cops, and this is like a side quest to remind you that they're cops, especially since like their higher ups want to spin it in one way and it's not the same. So I get it, that could be filler, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was just some of the dialogue to me was a little ham-fisted of like you're doing this because we're black, aren't you? It's like, okay, yeah, it's a little obvious.
I like that they called it out though.
It was like procedural cop dialogue. I was like, okay, like I feel like y'all should be better than this, but okay, whatever. That was my only critique of it, like especially some of the background characters, like in the precinct, like the chief lady is like,
yeah,
like I don't like her at all. They wrote her terribly in this. And that was,
I think that's what they were doing.
They're like,
but they could have done a smart. They could have done a little smarter than it was. Like it doesn't feel like a smart writing for me. Like,
they're like, you're gonna hate this lady.
You're gonna hate this lady.
Yeah, get a better dialogue for it.
One of the other underlying mysteries that we haven't talked about is that Alex Cross, as Mari and Jason already pointed out, his wife gets killed. Apparently, this is a recurring theme, and we don't know who the killer is. And so, not only do we have to find out about the Ymir killer and the serial killer, but his wife was shot in cold blood in public, basically, and they never found out who did it. And we started getting clues throughout, to kind of lead Alex Cross away from the case and start thinking about, how can I figure out this issue with my wife, this mystery about my wife? Jason, what did you think about the key evidence that we got in this episode being a redskin scarf that his wife was murdered in that appeared back in the house? Someone planted back in his house, and his son actually got in trouble for taking the scarf to school because redskin paraphernalia is banned.
It's the Commanders now, Chappell. It's the Commanders now.
He said Redskins. I think we were Redskins. Okay.
I thought it was interesting that they decided to like make it that, like, to really bring that into it. That was interesting. But yeah, that really kind of fits into the Alex Cross has someone that's out for him for whatever reason, and they're really going to mess with his family and his personal life. So that fits a lot. And I really, in episode 3, they dig a little deeper and we get into a little bit more of what's going on, which it leads to even more questions and more like, what's going on? So and as we see the killer creeping up into Alex's house and placing the scarf, and you talk about the acting of Aldous Hodge when he realizes what scarf this is and how this came to be, like his reaction to that was so great and so on point. So that that is really par for the course for Alex Cross, personal villain, to do something like this. I don't know how many villains, Mari, in the books have snuck into Alex Cross's house and done stuff into his house, in his house. It's been a recurring theme in that show, in that book. Truly. So it wasn't surprising to see it here as well. I'm very interested to see if they're going where I think they're going, which would be very interesting to see.
Man. Yeah. And also, it's kind of like, I love it. It might be ham-fisted, but I love when somebody's talking and there's like a clue somewhere to what they're saying. The camera goes to Alex Cross's face, and Alex is like he's like, it's like, and like it's like him clocking something, and you're like, ooh, that was a clue. That was a clue, y'all.
Yeah,
I love it. They did that a lot in this.
Oh yeah, that's one of those recurring themes where it's like someone says something, he's like, interesting, Alex
that away.
Yeah, Alex has to be smarter than everybody else in the room. That's his thing, right? Like especially with the cell phone stuff, where he's like, stop the video, roll that back. Like I saw something none else did. Yeah.
No, that's a good point. Because there's definitely moments where when he meets Ed for the first time, and Ed says something to him about like, I really hope that we get to the bottom of the foul play here, and Alex Cross is like, who said anything about foul play? And he's kind of looking around like, interesting. It's like, oh, okay. Like he's already kind of catching things. So yeah, you pick up on that very quickly. I do want to talk about this man needing therapy. I am Team Samson on this one. This man does not need to have a gun anymore. He pulls not only does he yell at his child for being caught with that Redskins scarf, which I mean, it has racist undertones, so do your thing, but also, whatever. Don't yell at your kid. Not like that. He does not know what's going on. He does not know why you're mad. But then he also pulled a gun on his daughter, and we just kind of swept that under the rug. They're like, okay, get this man his badge back and send him back into the field. I'm like, this man here is a threat to national security, at the very least to the people around him. Mari, when they got into the argument at the dinner table, the one that Jason flagged up, I felt like the guy that Aldous Hodge's character assaulted, like he just proved his point. You know what I'm saying? Like, hello.
Like, like clearly Alex is still not over what happened to his wife. And I love that it gave us another facet of Alex's character to be introduced to, especially just again in these first 2 episodes. Like, it's the cerebral portion. I mean, before he goes into that interrogation room and gets very close to that neo-Nazi, he's on desk duty. You know, they say he's stuck on desk duty. So it wasn't like they kind of immediately threw him back out there, but it's just like this man is still suffering from like PTSD. He heard something in the middle of the night and pulled a gun on his daughter on accident, you know. So it's like, and he's like unraveling. He's literally unraveling. I think it's in episode 3 where he's like it's his anniversary and he's like sobbing, like open sobbing. So he needs some therapy. So I love that Samson is there trying to push him in that direction. And I love Aldous, like that moment between the two of them when Samson says that he has the name of, what is it? He has he basically has a lead on his wife's murder. And Alex is like about to lose. He's like, give me the name. And Simpson's like, go to therapy.
Go to therapy, please. I mean, he definitely needs therapy. You know, he's trying to date as well. It's been 2 years since since his wife has passed. And so he's out here in the streets. He's doing his dating thing. He's dating a woman named Elle. But I would say that, you know, one thing this show did really well is they never let you forget that this is Aldous Hodge, because it seems like he could be dating any of the women that he comes across at any point. There's so much chemistry. Like everybody, it's very heavy on the flirting. It's unprofessional, Jason.
Listen, that's an Alex Cross thing. Like that is like Alex Cross,
like a James Bond type.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. Like Alex Cross never met a woman he didn't want to date. In most of the early books, I will say. So that definitely fits the character. He has this smoldering chemistry with all the women he comes across, basically. So that really fits. And you know, Aldous Hodge is a good representation of that, I think.
Yeah, because Kayla is one of his points of contact here. I think she works for the FBI, or at least she's trying to recruit him to come be a forensic psychologist for the FBI. And I was just like, oh, they definitely got something going on. You know, she walks in, drops her like her big fur coat and just like sits down. She's like, and what can I do for you? And what are you gonna do for me? I was like, okay. But again, he's still got this L thing going on. And so I was like, okay, we'll see where, you know, if there's a will they, won't they with them. The L stuff is very interesting as well, because again, another person who really needs to push this man to go to therapy, but she's going to be enough therapy for him in this episode. She's like, no, talk to me. Tell me what's going on. I'm like, drive that man to some professional help, because, you know, they try to do the do, and the dude can't get done because he's just not ready. He's not ready, Mar. He's jumping into the saddle a little too soon.
Yeah. Again, like, you will do everything but go to
therapy. Yeah.
This is actually the most unrealistic part, because a real man would have gone through with it and like nothing happened.
Like, therapy, what's that? Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah. He doesn't do well. He panics and runs out of the room or whatever. But he does have other personal issues going on. Like we talked about his kids a little bit and his home life. He's got 2 kids, Janny and Damon. Thank you. And Janny, she seems like a regular kid. She's doing her thing. Her dad's pulling guns on her, but she's trying to hold it down. Damon's the one who he's a piano prodigy, it seems, or like he's got that going. So he learned the piano from his late mother. And so that's another storyline that's unfolding. But all of this is the backdrop of, you know, what is a sinister murder / serial killer cover up. And so there's a lot of moving pieces in these first 2 episodes, ultimately culminating with our bad guy, Ed, tracking his newest threat, or I guess his newest prey, right? A woman named Shannon. And they don't tell us why. They don't tell us why Shannon specifically, but we see her talking to a barista. The barista kind of makes like, Shannon? Oh, okay. takes a picture of her, sends it off, and then the ball just gets rolling on this whole plot to get her. Mari, in the 2 episodes, I know you're Alex Cross pro. Did I miss something about this Shannon woman that made her specifically the one that this barista's in on? And how many people does this serial killer have in on his whole plan? Because it's like he's like Littlefinger. He's got little birds everywhere.
Yeah. So like he's clearly. I'm pretty sure this is in the 2nd episode. Sorry, maybe I shouldn't. It was so good though. I had to keep going.
I had the same issue. Yeah.
But the book is in this one, right? It's just the book. No.
The book comes. Well, yeah, the book it does make an appearance. We do see the book. We see the book of serial killers matched with people that he has taken and made to look like.
Look like the serial killers.
That's part of the reason why Shannon is chosen, because
she's chosen. Yeah.
But why does the barista
she has a resemblance? Huh?
Yeah, but the barista was the one who took the picture. Like the barista was like
an employee.
That's what I'm saying. There's so many people in on it. Even when Shannon and Ed go on their date to the serial killer museum, I'm not quite sure what that was, but they go on their date. They pass away their cell phones. Like, hey, cell phones aren't permitted. And the person who takes the cell phone even is like fiddling with her phone, setting her up. Said, who is this network of supervillains that is trying to get to this, to make this serial killer happen?
And that's and there you go. That's a bigger mystery. We know that Ed is the killer, but why are all these people working for him?
Right?
Why do they have what's his name? It's crazy behind
Bobby.
Bobby, yes. Like it's a lot going on, and all of that just so he can like stalk certain victims and make them look like certain like serial killers. And then also he said she was the last one at one point. So it's kind of like, so what are you gonna do after the last one? So I think it's that's what we're gonna have to keep watching to find out, because I at first I was like wait, was he also the barista? It took me a minute to realize like it was all these people working for him, and it felt like to me Bobby came out of nowhere. I was like, wait, where did Bobby come from?
And Bobby's very active. He's very active in the first couple of episodes. Like first he's a detective, like with like a private eye, but we don't know which side he's working on at first. But he immediately goes to Ed and is like, "Hey, Ed, here's the information you need." Bobby's even the sniper that takes out Tavio. Yeah, Tavio. And so so Bobby's intertwined in this as well. He used to work for the police force, so I was thinking maybe Jason that he has an axe to grind with Alex Cross from maybe back in the days. Like, I haven't worked with him, but I know him very well. It's like,
Bobby. I think Bobby doing this for the money. That's all Bobby. That's all Bobby wants.
And for the cash, and maybe all these people are, because Ed is filthy rich. Apparently, his home is huge, and it is the site of where he's handling these murders. Eventually, he'll get Shannon to come to this date. Now, the way he gets this woman.
Dog.
This is tough, because first he finds her on a dating site and then he catfishes her. He meets her at the spot where they're supposed to meet, and she's like, you ain't the guy. Cut it out. This married men, y'all always like this. He's like, no, listen to me, baby. I can explain. I'm very high profile. She's like, I don't believe you. And he just wears her down, like, no, just let me buy you breakfast, and it starts there. And then, of course, he's already done his research on her, so he knows her interests. He takes her to the places she likes. He has the same authors in mind that she likes, and eventually he will invite her to his home for breakfast. Just come over. I'll make bacon, and then I can help you with this job that I've made a few calls for you to get. She is reluctant. She is even kind of texting her mom before she goes in, like, hey, if I'm not back in an hour, call the police.
Yeah, she's doing all the right things. Like
a text that we all send.
Right.
Being cautious.
Yeah, she should have drew the line. I don't know how many times I have to say this, and I've said this on other podcasts, but I want to be very clear. If someone catfishes you, that is not someone you can trust. The end. That is the sentence. It's not like, because when we watch 90 Day Fiance, Jason, I know you're a big 90 Day guy. You watch 90 Day Fiance. Sometimes I'm looking at you, Jenny and Samit. Okay, you catfish me, but you're not that bad in the eyes anyway. So I'm saying, no, you shut it down after they catfish you the first time. Don't give these people a chance to play in your face again, because that's why this woman's getting murdered.
that's what this TV show Catfish has built an empire upon, is people that are, yeah, he catfished me, but like, no, there's no but. Like, no, like it's over. It's done. You lied. You're a liar.
Also, fuck politeness, ladies, as the women from My Favorite Murder would say. Like you don't need to be polite. Say no, you're a catfish. Fuck your feelings and leave. We have to undo this socialization where we have to try and it's because survival. You got to make
survival
feel
for sure,
comfortable so they don't kill you. But also, if your senses are going off,
believe them.
Believe them. Yeah.
Her spidey senses were going off left and right, and she was so happy. He disarmed her so well with that job that she wanted so bad, and so she's like, "All right, I'll show up." She even refuses to drink the mimosa. She comes in like, "Nah, I'm good." Like she really did kind of try to come in on her P's and Q's, but it wasn't the mimosa, Mari.
No, it wasn't.
Hand sanitizer.
Like,
dum dum dum.
He's like, you thought I was gonna put it in the drink, but no, I already got you though.
Yeah, Mari. Now I feel like you're a hand sanitizer girly. Did this one hit too close to home?
First off, I am a hand sanitizer girly, but also this is a myth, people. Fentanyl, you cannot absorb it through your skin. It would take so much and so long, and it is not. This is not how that works. But it's fine. It's whatever. It moves the plot, and it was very like jaw dropping.
Yeah,
so
he got her.
I was like, oh. And then the double next.
Yeah, she tries to call her mom, and when she's like, somebody's gonna come looking for me because I sent that text. Hey, if it's in an hour, I'm not found. They know where I'm at. She gets ready to call her mom, and he picks up the phone because again, they've already they tampered with her phone already. They somehow redirected this call to his own phone, and now she is screwed. And so, that kind of outlines all our big cases. I mean, we really haven't talked about Aldous Hodge's secret admirer, Jason, but he's getting flowers. For me, I feel like he does this all the time. Like in his regular life, Aldous Hodge is just randomly coming outside to flowers on his porch.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's probably connected to his the personal case he's dealing with whoever from his past. So that's probably what that is. But yeah, like that was a lot of, and listen, me and Mari have already seen episode 3. If you think episode 1 and 2 was something, wait till you get to episode 3. That it sheds a lot more light on what's happened with Shannon and what's going to happen with Shannon. And it's very interesting. So stay tuned for that for sure. I'm definitely going to be working on finishing this season up during this week because I had to see the rest of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out as well because I've already been seeing the Facebook statuses and tweets like, "Oh my God, the ending is crazy, it'll blow your mind." Like, dang, now I gotta watch it because I will complain a little bit about this show. The pacing is very slow. Like we just talked about everything that happened in those first 2 episodes in like 20 minutes, and I mean, it really didn't take that much. Like there was this everything's drawn out. A lot of these conversations are fully fleshed out. Like they really bring you into the world and say like, sit in this. But for me, I'm like, whew, some of this could have been an email. So I might watch it on 1.5.
Come on.
Yeah. I might put it on 2x. Or something like that. Do I really care about him dating this girl back in middle school? Not really. Like
keep yourself in the atmosphere.
No,
you never know what's going to be
important. Other stuff I gotta watch later on. It's drawing it out. I mean, that was the longest hour of my life episode. When I said, "God dang, is it a 2-parter?" So yeah, I will be checking it out, and I hope that the listeners will check it out too. We tried to talk about it. It's vaguely. Like, we don't want to spoil anything for nobody. We won't give away any clues too much that people haven't seen. But if you liked Cross, check it out. Let us know what you think here on Recap Kickback. Leave it in the comments. Tell us, hey, like Cross is crazy. I finished it and it's wild. But don't spoil it. Don't be that guy.
Right.
Don't spoil it for us.
Don't be that person.
We're trying to do things. Okay. I spoiled This Is Us. We move. Okay. We move. Anything else, Mari, from Cross episodes 1 and 2?
No, I just need to go and watch the rest of it. I'm so excited. Like coming into this, I was like, oh God, like I had like hopes. I don't know if they were high because it just feels like every time they try and revive Alex Cross, it just never goes well. So the fact that we get a great representation of Cross, this deserves to be like a weekly show, like weekly television, but it's fine. It's found a home on Prime Video. We already have confirmation of a second season. And yes, and Chappelle, when you had mentioned that he had turned down the like making him white and stuff like that, I think that was like in the tweet that I heard about, like a different tweet about him with the second season. Like James Patterson had like a particular set of ask before he signed the contract, and so like not whitewashing it and having the second season greenlit and all that first, and there was a couple other things, which is what made this possible. So I'm just excited to have such a great show to watch that I don't know if a lot of people know about it. You know, I don't know. I don't feel like the marketing could have been as good as it should have been, but yeah, I'm excited to watch the rest.
Yeah. And Jason, anything from the cross cinematic universe or book world that we should be noticing or talking about as we wrap up our conversations about episodes 1 and 2?
I will say, I think if you like Cross and things like Cross, I think it's Amazon Prime cousin / brother Reacher. It would also be a good show for you to check out. They have 2 seasons of that out already. That was pretty good. I recommend that if you like this sort of brooding leading man energy. That show would also be good for you.
Did you read the Reacher books, Jason?
I'm in the middle of Reacher. Reacher also has a lot of books, and I'm also doing Reacher. I was also doing
like
a Reacher, Alex Cross, one after the other type of thing. So I'm still doing Reacher right now. I'm in the middle of a book.
So have you read Will Trent?
I haven't read Will Trent yet. No.
You'll love Will Trent, and the audiobooks are great. It's like books 2 through 4, 5 through 7. I literally read all like the 10 Will Trent books in the last like 10 months. Like that's how good they were. And I say that like I took 2 months off after I gave birth. So I've just been listening to them back to back. They're 19 hours audiobooks. But yeah, so yeah, Reacher is good. Reacher's good too.
19 hours is crazy. I gotta start reading fiction. I only read nonfiction books. So whenever people start going on this stuff, I'll be like,
yeah, I kind of recently got into it, like, because I was getting to a point where I'd run out of podcasts and I'd be like, all right,
I listen to something.
God forbid I'd be at work and not listen to something. So I'm like, what can I do? So I got into audiobooks, and then I've just been voracious with it. Like, I think with the 32 or so Alex Cross books, I think I've done that in 6 months or so.
What's the average hour on those?
Those are usually 9 hours per book.
Oh, yeah.
Reacher is like 13 hours a book, which is a lot. Like, Reacher likes to explain stuff to you like real slow. Like,
Will Trent is 19 hours. It's 19 hours
per book or
per book.
That's crazy.
Oh,
but it's because the books are like jam packed. Like it's the case are. I'm telling you, you'll like them.
I'll try it. Yeah,
I will not. But thank you so much, Jason, for coming and joining us to talk about this. I had no clue you were a cross expert, but anytime I can get you here on Recap Kickback, I'm going to definitely be like, hey, you got the green light. We got to talk about Papa's House at some point.
Yeah, that's I'd be down for that for sure. I think it's probably something I would have gone into without being asked, but I'd love to check that out because I'm a big Damon Wayans fan from way back. Major Payne was a formative movie in my childhood, like one of my favorites from back then. So,
yeah. I was calling people ass eyes all throughout college. Jason, can you tell everybody else what you're doing these days, what you're working on, and where they can find you?
You can find me on the Rob Has Podcast Network on the Love at First Sight feed, talking about the show Married at First Sight with Asia Welch. We're every week on that. Mari is joining us a lot this season, helping us out covering the show. We have a lot of fun over there. We are told all the time you don't even need to watch Married at First Sight to enjoy the podcast. So come on over. We're having a lot of fun. Also, I'm doing my own little separate private venture called The Good Pod, where me and Marissa Garza are covering The Good Wife and Elspeth right now as that second season is going on. So 2 podcasts a week from The Good Pod for us for right now. Come over and check it out. Having a lot of fun over there.
Yeah, I heard some good stuff about Elsbeth recently, and I was like, dang, do I need to go dive into the good cinematic universe as well? I might tiptoe in and see what y'all been talking about over there, because it sounds interesting to me.
Yeah, listen, if you like some light, murdery fun, like that's where Elsbeth is. Elsbeth lives in like it's about a murder, but it's funny. Like
funny, it's Elsbeth. Yeah. Okay, cool. And Jason, where can the people find you on social media if you got it?
So I am on the blue ski. I refuse to call them skeets.
But that's what they is.
Yeah,
They is skeets, y'all. I'm sorry.
yeah.
It is what it is.
Over there, I am JR33D. I am still on the cesspool at his Twitter at JAYR1085.
Yeah. And Mari, what you got going on besides, watching Sex Lives of College Girls and coming and joining me on the podcast as a special guest?
Yeah. Wild way to find out you're getting fired. So you can find me on Crime Scene. Me and Sarah Carradine are over on Crime Scene Podcast. You go to crimescenepod.com. This is very important because we found out that there has been some issues with our crossover from our Spotify. So you might think that you're subscribed, but go make sure that you are subscribed. Like go resubscribe, especially if you're on Spotify. But the Apple feed should have been fine, but just make sure that you are subscribed. Once we moved independently, it might have been a little gap there where you might not have been seeing our most recent episodes. So make sure you go to crimescenepod.com or type in Crime Scene, the Crime Scene Podcast on Apple Music, wherever you get your podcast. Just make sure you are subscribed to us. Me and Sarah Carradine talked to Rebecca Lavoie this week, talking about Woman of the Hour on Netflix. It is a feature. It's a feature film. It's a movie directed by Anna Kendrick, starring Anna Kendrick, about Rodney Alcala, the dating game killer. It was a very interesting movie. I had I had one thought process about it going into the podcast, and then talking to Sarah and Rebecca definitely might have changed my viewpoint. So definitely go check that out. We had a lot of fun over there. Like Jason said, I'm on the Married at First Sight episode this week. We had a lot of fun.
Maybe too much, some might say.
This week. It was hilarious. So definitely go check us out over there where Jason said. But I am on the blue sky. That's the only place you can find me, because by the time y'all hear this, I will have deactivated the hellscape that is Twitter /X. Yeah, the ghetto. So like you can go to @MariTalksTooMuch.bsky.social, or just @MariTalksTooMuch on Blue Sky if you're already over there.
We gotta cut down the usernames. Like, why do we have to have all that?
I think you can shorten it if you use the Skeets app. I think you can shorten it on there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I think Gray Sky app has a shortener as well. But those are the only two that I've heard about. But I prefer the Skeets
honestly,
app.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, to me, honestly, it's just if you literally just go and type in @MariTalksTooMuch, you'll find me. So it's fine. So yeah. I've been sounding like a fanatic trying to get all of my IRLs onto that app. I'm like, dog, y'all, everybody, Blue Sky, let's go. And my friends are like, they were like Jason Reed. They're like, I'm too old to learn a new app. I'm like, no, come on, stop it. Like, I'm trying to push them there. So definitely follow me on Blue Sky. It's been so fun. Like, I feel like I'm interacting with people much more. Like, I feel like I'm actually talking to people on an app where you're supposed to be able to talk to people. Funny that. So yeah. And that's it. So follow me all those places. Chappell, what about you?
Follow me on Recap Kickback. I have my own Blue Sky account, but I really want more activity on the Recap Kickback Blue Sky. So follow Recap Kickback on all social media platforms, including X. It's still there for until I decide to not be, but it's there if you're looking for it. And then catch up with all the other coverage we have here on Recap Kickback. G and I are talking about Abbott Elementary. Every 2 episodes or so, we're covering the episode of Abbott Elementary. There's a hiatus right now. Abbott is going to be taking a couple breaks for the holidays, so we'll be popping in sparsely to talk about Abbott, but it is a great time, so check that out. And then over on RHAP, The Summit with Taryn, House of Villains with Jenny, Sex Lives of College Girl with Sasha. Our recap of season 1 and 2 is already out, so it should already be in your podcast feeds as of a couple days. So tweet about it and everything. Skeet it too. So check that out. It's out there. And of course, you always got to keep up with us on Recap Kickback as well, because we got so much cool stuff coming your way. So check that out. And check out my appearance on the Was It Good Though podcast. I got to talk about the Penguin. It was so much fun, and I loved it. And I just want y'all to go hear it. So check out the Was It Good Though podcast. I'll put the link in the show notes so that everybody can follow all of that. But that wraps up our coverage here of Cross episodes 1 and 2. Go check it out. Check out the whole series and then come back and see what we're talking about next week. For Jason, for Mari, and for myself, you ain't got to go home, but you definitely can't stay here. We will catch you all next time. Bye. I've been trapped behind Maria, isolated like it's North Korea. Smaller city with some bigger dreams. The wall is cracked, I'm looking in between it. The world is yours, but man, I gotta see it. They say it's hard, but man, I gotta see it. The air I'm breathing can't feel my chest. Wait on life, I wanna hold my breath. I'ma get in my goddamn self.